consumer myself of organic products.
Not only considers the safety of the food, but also health of the soil, health of the consumer.
You can use the word organic, but you can't say certified organic.
There is a market over there.
At our farm, we work from an ecological model.
We should not use any more chemical fertilizer.
Does that solve your problem?
No, not at all.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Crossover. I'm Ji-Jun.
Hello from our Beijing studio. I'm Louisa Lee.
So what are we going to talk about?
Today we're talking about organic farming.
Organic. We had one episode about living green.
Yeah, so it is similar.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a consumer myself of organic product.
Yeah, you only, what does it mean? Do you only buy organic food in the market?
Well, I try to because I feel like it's safer. I know that it doesn't have chemical fertilizers and pesticides.
Well, my tip is it really depends on how big my pocket is for that month. It seems my impression is they tend to be more expensive than non-organic foods.
So I make sure I don't waste my organic produce.
But that's almost like a new lifestyle now for a lot of people, a lot of consumers. Take a look at the studio. It's so colorful. So who brought this? Who brought this?
The salad is from our farm.
What are they for? For decoration or?
For eating, of course.
So they're edible?
Seriously?
Yes, they're edible flowers.
So the flowers are edible?
So the orange ones, like this one here, is a calendula.
No?
Calendula is the English name.
What else? A pumpkin over there, I can see that. And
That's from my farm.
Okay.
And we also have some eggs, right?
Yeah,
like
that's
free
range.
Okay.
All right. We have to introduce our guests first, right? We have Taylor, organizer of the organic farm or market.
Yeah, farmers market in Beijing.
It's a weekend market.
No, we actually do 3 or 4 times a week now.
Thomas, do you also have a farm?
Yes, we have a farm in Changping. It's called Herb Whisperers Farm. We do organic vegetables for CSA, community supported agriculture, as well as medicinal plants mostly for export.
Yes, and Luca.
Yes, my profession is a lawyer. I have a hobby, so I have a farm as well. It's called Nordic Farm. We set it up in the very beginning that we don't think we can buy organic vegetables.
There is a market over there.
Yeah, that's right. Now it's available, but this is years ago, I think, before you started. So we actually start to grow ourselves, and later we found we grow a bit more than we eat, so we supply to restaurants and supermarket.
So from a hobby to a profession.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
It sounds that's always how this is started, right? Did you also start it this way?
We started as a simple garden, and it was mostly for educating children about plants and organic agriculture, but really it was just a garden, an herb garden.
But Thomas, you actually studied Chinese medicine.
Right.
Any connections between that and the decision?
Well, the plants, I guess.
Okay.
There's a major problem with medicinal plants, not just here in China, but around the world, in quality issues. So for a long time, and still to some extent now, plants came from the wild. But now they're grown, and so, on big farms, and when you use a lot of fertilizers and pesticides and then try to consume them as medicine, it's sort of diametrically opposed, actually.
Right. So you said
I'm cooking for myself, so I'm concerned about my own health.
Do you not dine outside in other restaurants? Or
I do, and that's also a concern. So I pick the restaurants of where I go usually. But I guess I have a question: is it really safe? What is the standard of organic produce? I think this is what I wonder.
So is there a definition for being organic food? What does it mean? Tell us.
Well, there are very different definitions. For the industry, yes, you have to be certified organic to call yourself organic.
From the government?
Yeah, the government certifies certain private companies to be certifier. So the certification system is similar to everywhere in the world. A private company, they send inspectors to your farm to see whether you follow all the principles, to check on your practice, and you pay the company to be certified as a farmer. So that's how the third-party certification system goes. And then once you are certified, you can call your products organic. I don't know if your farm is...
You can use the word organic, but you can't say certified organic. That word has kind of been co-opted by sort of certifying bodies, but also governments.
So what are the key elements that you would consider necessary being organic?
No synthetic fertilizers.
Okay.
No pesticides or herbicides that are from synthetic chemicals.
And also really caring for the land, for the environment, and the trade should be fair and good to the farmers. Fair is a very important component of the organic movement since the 60s, but it gets lost in all the certification system. Or now we have industrial organic, which is completely going the wrong direction.
Exactly.
So what we do here is to really promote the more sustainable way or a holistic way of organic farming, which not only considers the safety of the food, but also health of the soil, health of the consumer, and the fairness of the trade business.
Luca, you're a lawyer. I guess you're pretty good at all these terms. So, so what exactly are the terms included to describe this organic concept?
I think organic is really a general term, I would say. I think different people have different concepts, but like what you mentioned, if you want to attach organic logo, then you need to have certification to claim your kind of like official organic, right?
Who is it from, this logo? From the government or only from any certain organizations? And are these organizations commercially organized?
Yeah, normally they're standard. For example, EU has their own standard. It's from the EU government. And like in different countries, they have different standard. In China, we also have organic standard. And then there are companies, like third-party companies, they're supposed to be independent. And then they go and certify. Of course, they inspect first, and then they certify your organic, and then the organic certification will be issued. But when we talk about organic, I think when you go and buy, for example, we have the farm, we don't have a lot of land, we only have 100 mu. We grow, originally we want to grow vegetables that we can eat, so we just want to make sure we don't put chemicals, we don't put, all chemical things there. That it's pure, but of course it's difficult to say is it 100% organic or not, because you still have the land, you still have the water. It's just like the maximum you want to ensure that your food as green as possible, as organic as possible.
Okay.
I guess it's kind of like a broad definition. It depends. It can go all the way to the water, the air. It could go all the way up, right? It depends how. So I guess it's kind of a broad range.
At our farm, we work from an ecological model. So basically mimicking ecology, the ecology of nature. Rather than add fertilizers, we compost because we try to improve the soil quality. And by improving the soil quality, then we thus can improve the quality of everything that we grow. That also, in doing that, that also encourages other wildlife, birds, insects, so on and so forth. And by creating a balance of ecology, then pests will never get too far out of hand. We don't really need to use too many controls because we have the controls are already in place.
Now, if we put all these terms and jargons away, where exactly is China now in whatever you call it, organic farming?
Oh, I think it has a long way to go. I recently read an article that said China uses something like 5 times more pesticides than the average country. So that's a big problem.
So that's like the first step, the first big step to get rid of, well, to use less pesticides.
Actually, government has a policy to say by 2020, we need to, the fertilizer usage should come to an end, not come to an end, come to the peak. They have a target to say we should not use any more chemical fertilizer in China.
Why can't we just use pesticides? It seems it's good for farming.
No, do you read the book The Silent Spring? That's the problem with pesticide. It kills all the insects and the ecosystem. It's bad. It's bad.
I mean,
the bees are.
You're killing both good and bad insects, or there are no bad insects at all.
Well, some insects might damage your crops.
Okay.
But if you try to kill them, then you also kill the bees. If you don't have bees, you don't have pollination. No apples. No raspberries. No seeds.
Because the nature has been doing most of the work for us in food production.
The best percentage of people eating organic actually in Nordic countries, right? It's about 30% in Nordic countries.
Which is
Denmark,
really high,
Sweden,
which is pretty high.
Finland,
What do you mean by best percentage?
I mean, highest percentage.
Yeah, but
right.
I mean,
the best practice or the highest percentage is, as far as I know, is actually in Nordic countries, right?
You cannot actually, the way of organic farming cannot afford more than 30%.
Well, first of all, it's indeed more expensive than the normal food.
Okay.
And secondly, I think you don't get everybody like what you do to be aware how good organic food are. But this is the highest percentage is in Nordic country, that 30% of people, they realize that organic food are good, right? And you can also see that in Nordic countries, actually the difference, the price difference between organic and non-organic, not very big difference. In China, it's huge. In Denmark, it's like 20%.
Why is it so huge in China?
Because conventional food is too cheap. Our farmers are too poor.
It's not because you're too expensive, it's because they're too cheap.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. But what
We don't respect our farmers.
Yeah.
Farmers work very hard and yet make almost nothing.
And it's driven by the market force?
All sorts of things, policies, market, and awareness of human beings, of people, consumers. We're used to very cheap food. It's okay to pay a farmer very little money, but is that really fair?
The cost is one thing, the awareness is one thing, but also I think the yield is one thing, right? Even outside China, you don't get high yield of organic food, right? When you go to the supermarket, actually you can recognize what is organic, what is non-organic, right?
By
organic.
labels?
One thing is the label. In China, you cannot tell the difference. It's only the label. And people don't have this trust. The trust system is completely destroyed, right? If you look at the logo, you don't actually, not the logo, sorry, the label, you don't actually trust it's a pure organic.
Because they all look the same, like the organic food and non-organic food. They all actually look the same.
The price tag is not.
Yeah, the price tag is not.
And when we supply to supermarket, they actually require it has to be big, it has to be beautiful. But we all know organic product cannot be that big, that beautiful.
I just came back from Sweden, and we were visiting friends our friend's sister runs an organic farm, and they were at the store for their annual sort of display of their produce that they sell on a regular basis to. And we were actually comparing their produce to the commercial produce in the same section. And other than the tag, you couldn't tell the difference really. I mean, there's some different strains that they grow, but as far as size or shape, there's no difference. Now, that being said, some organic farmers probably don't really know what they're doing. And all they're doing is not using chemicals.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And if you do that, especially if your soil is poor, then you will, in fact, get smaller carrots or smaller whatever. If you take care of your soil, you can get as much or a better result. Yeah.
Well, I hope it's true, but like the raspberry we grow in Ningxia, and actually we can sell the raspberry 2 times, 3 times higher in the international market, but in the meantime our yield is much lower. So I'd love to invite you there and to teach us how to use the soil maybe. But generally speaking, in the industry, the yield is much lower for organic products.
Now, well, it seems it's time for us to show some video.
Let's take a look.
Take a look.
现在大家怀疑进行有机生产以后，是不是产量会降低啊？我们通过在蔬菜生产方面的探索，通过在几个果树生产方面的探索，通过在几个部分的粮食作物方面的探索，我们认为能够做到有机高产，同时2个目标能够兼顾。因为有机产品能够卖的价格呢，是普通产品的一般2倍、3倍甚至5倍。 最高的也达到10倍，这意味着就是在乡村收入部分，在原有的国民收入整体结构里边，它是一个稳定的，甚至是可以提高的。这意味着就是我们的乡村社会在这样一个经济基础上会变得更加稳定，而且向好的方向发展。由于这个有机农业使用的是环境友好型的技术，理论上讲，它可以解决生态环境不安全问题。
That's Professor Hu from the China University of Agriculture. He seems to be quite optimistic about achieving both high yield and being organic. Does that solve your problem?
No, not at all. well, I don't disagree. This can be reached, but I'm talking about generally speaking, the yield is lower.
Okay.
And remember what he said. After experiments, right? They can reach high yield while being organic in certain, area. So it doesn't seem like it's, applying for every organic production.
Okay, just
right?
look at
and
the
also,
toothpaste.
and also, why do you need to sell much higher price, right? He mentioned 2 times, 5 times, and 10 times because you need to compensate the low yield.
I talked to Professor Hu that day when we did the interview, and he said in China actually it's growing quite fast. People's awareness, he said it's going up by 15 to 20% annually. So if everyone, if everyone is starting to buy produce, organic produce, then maybe the price will go down, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think if more people are involved and more science and research is invested in this area, and the farmers get better training, the yields will go up.
Now, that's more or less a general discussion of the idea of organic farming. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to focus more on the business, all the stakeholders, the farm owners, organizers, and
consumers.
Also consumers. We'll be right back.
And make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We'll be right back.
So people can get to visit the farm, to see by their own eyes.
Ideally is one thing, but to actually run a farm is a totally different thing.
Generally, it's in the morning before the market or the afternoon prior to the market.
They're really attractive, they're really fresh.
And we went to talk to some farmers, we connected. At least I know where the produce is made. Welcome back to the studio as we continue our talks about the organic farming and organic produce.
Welcome back, and now let's talk about the business. Since we have an organizer, we have 2 owners over here of 2 different farms, and actually we also made a visit to a farm, an organic farm in Beijing. Let's see what the owner has to say about running that farm.
原来是在房地产行业，当时也是关注这个环境健康啊、饮食安全。后来跟朋友合作，关注有机农业，投入有机农业。开始的时候确实特别困难，每年都亏损几十万。我那个朋友也坚持不下去了，就撤出了。所以我就把别的工作都辞掉，就专心的做这有机农业。已经是第7年了，确实是每年经营情况不断在改善。这个50多亩的小农场已经能够收支平衡了。我们也没有这么小的农场，我没有做过太多的市场推广的工作，完全是靠口碑宣传。最开始的时候呢，就是老师、同学、同事、朋友，小范围的进行销售。结果慢慢发展，到现在我们每个星期要服务的客户超过300家。我们每个月呢会有1次、2次邀请客户来体验农耕的这些乐趣，是我们一个开放日。这里面种的很多作物都是我们的客户跟我们一起种的。我们在这个小区域的布置上也比较讲究，像我们在北边种玉米，就是北方的作物；我们在南面还有一个水稻田，种的是南方的水稻。有机农场呢，劳动力投入会比较大。我们这个50亩的园子，夏天的时候最多的时候会有30个同事。我们整个成本构成结构当中，40%到50%都是人工的投入。这边是我们种的大葱，有些农作物呢，它气味特别大，虫子并不一定都喜欢，所以我们会用它做一些驱革、驱虫的一些作用。实际上，有机农业想保持产量，除了在生产技术上，比如说以虫治虫啊、以菌治虫，这个要不断探索以外，还有很关键的就是顺应天时。有些季节就适合种它，虫害病害也少，我们就把这个时节做足功课。其实这个角度来看，对于人的养生啊、食品食疗啊，它也起到特别好的作用。以前农业院校毕业的孩子，很多人都不愿意再做农业，因为看到的都是农村凋敝的景象，生活很艰难，脏乱差，环境受到破坏。但是有机农业实际上是能很好的解决这各方面的问题，他们在这个环境当中能找到幸福感。所以我相信会有越来越多的年轻人再回到农村，从事有机行业。
Is that a typical story? People who are not actually agriculture background, but somehow have an interest in, you know, organic food and then got themselves involved full time?
It's also a lifestyle.
Lifestyle.
I think it's a lifestyle. I think one of the things that we notice with our customers at the market that we sell at is that people's awareness in their lifestyle is completely different than sort of people who don't, that we know that don't use organic food. And so when we meet the farmers at the market, their lifestyle is also very, very different. It's not just because they're farmers. It's because perhaps they care more about their environment. They're concerned about the pollution and water quality. And
ideally is one thing, but to actually run a farm is a totally different thing.
Very
How
much
difficult is it?
It's extremely difficult.
From where?
I think the most difficult part for us really is our farmers. The farmers that we have are mostly, I would say, in their 50s. They've been farming their entire life, but they've been farming. They've been farming commercially. You know, or maybe not commercially, maybe on a very small scale, but using, you know, fertilizers and pesticides.
Conventional.
Conventional farming. And so to try to train them to do organic farming when they've, for their entire life, been doing this other way, is a bit of an uphill battle.
Education.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, because if you look at a lot of other countries, again, like Denmark, if people work in a farm, they have to have education. Right? They have to have certain education. And people who even run the farm, they have to be farmer before they can even buy a farm or run the farm, right? It's completely different from China. Most of the Chinese farmers are not educated at all. And I'm very happy to hear that more and more young people are going to the farm.
Yeah. This phenomenon is also true in the United States, where there was this pretty large gap of the farmers are getting older and older, and the children of those farmers were going off and for other careers. But now there's been this groundswell of, particularly for organic farmers and people that are doing something called permaculture. There's more and more young people. And so I think that that's a trend that you will probably start to see here in China.
Are you running, both of you, are you running the farms now as a business or still as a hobby?
More like a hobby. Frankly speaking, we're not earning money out of it, right?
So we were just watching. Yeah, we were just watching the video. It took him a few years
to break even.
To break even. So I wanted to ask you, how's your business doing?
Yeah, we're not earning money at all right now. I think it's a huge trust crisis in China. People don't trust if they go to the supermarket to see even the food label is organic, no matter how much it costs, right? They more trust that when they buy from Friends Farm, they trust much more. And of course, we have several owners, all like hobby, all like, you know, they don't trust the food in the supermarket, so they want to have a place where they can get their daily vegetables here.
So that's what we call community-supported farm model?
Yeah, community-supported agriculture is one model.
Okay.
CSA, meaning that, you know, farmers and consumers have a much closer relationship. Like what Mr. Xia said, you know, he would invite his consumers to the farm from time
visit
to
the farm,
time,
right?
And he knows who he delivers to. At the farmers market, you can see the farmer. You meet them personally. And we only work with farmers in Beijing, so people can get to visit the farm, to see by their own eyes, to decide whether I should trust this farm or not. It's not just a label, not a QR code you scan.
It's a personal relationship.
Yes. Yeah. And it's a friendship.
Well, I think when you go to the farmer's market, I think that's a great way to connect with the farmers. You get to talk to them. I buy it. No, I actually buy it from
that market.
Yeah, and I order it from online shops because I know the guy.
Yeah.
It's been used.
And we also visited a farmer's market here in Beijing. We have a video where I went to talk to some farmers. We connected. At least I know where the produce is made and how they make it.
Okay.
So let's take a look at the video first.
Take a look.
Located in the heart of Sanlitun, I'm currently standing inside one of the most reputable farmers markets here in Beijing. Although it's not grand in scale, the products here are said to be organic with strict rules enforced. Now let's go meet the organizer to learn more about this niche yet growing industry. 如果要这边摆摊的话，需要经过什么样的严格的筛选呢？
农夫的话，我们对于他们的要求还是比较严格的，食品安全嘛。所以我们联合消费者、农业专家和其他农场主和其他农夫们，不定期的对农场进行拜访。我们这个项目叫做 PGS 餐饮食保障体系。
那你们的客人是什么样的客群呢？
我们客群主要还是以年轻的妈妈们，就是有家庭的这些妈妈们为主。但是除了这些，也有一些会关注食品安全和土地、水、环境保护的这些客群。我们很多时候去超市买东西，我们不知道食物的来源，但在这里我们知道自己的农夫谁生产了我们的那个食物。
我们有很多的固定的消费者，他们周二都会养成一个习惯，到这边来采购我们的蔬菜产品。每年从我们的销售额来说，都有40%到50%的增长。我们在土壤方面呢，非常注重土壤的一个健康环境，这样只有健康的土壤，才能种植出健康的蔬菜，人吃了可能才会健康。
为什么传统农民不赚钱？是因为他们根本卖不回来自己的成本价格，然后导致越来越多的年轻人不愿意去做这个农业。然后我们就是把当地的村民，然后我们一起来种这个东西，让大家知道啊，我们先做了之后，就发现哎，农业原来可以这样做，然后他们也会慢慢的跟着我们一起来做。
Hello, good day.
Hello.
So what do you have in your bag?
I bought some tomatoes, as you see. I bought
Some pepper and some corn. Maybe we could trade. Okay. Mix it up a little bit.
Yeah,
These are
like some pepper,
these
yeah.
are peppers. I heard it's really good.
Yeah.
So you're a supporter. I'm also a supporter.
Yeah.
And I feel like over here the farmers they also like to give you free stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
So here you go. So I'm supporting this organic farming concept. So you can have my my peppers.
That's
you can
very
have
generous
my
from you.
vegetables as well.
Maybe you should come here more often so we can exchange more food. It's very
It was
good.
nice meeting you.
So when are you visiting the market again next time?
You want to go with me?
We want to go with you.
No, I think it's really nice because when you buy stuff, sometimes the farmer will be like, oh, you can have this onion, you can have this garlic.
So the atmosphere is more like, it's closer. It's a people-to-people contact.
Yeah, it's more than business.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle, like you said.
It's a community.
If we see a market like this, we see, well, basically a younger generation, young moms or I don't know, white-collar workers, and they would probably visit because this is pretty much in the city center. So it's almost, you make the connection.
Yes.
Right? Because that's a trendy thing to do.
Yeah, it is trendy, but it is more than being trendy. It's about being a responsible consumer for your own health. Also, you look after the land, the environment.
By paying more.
Yeah, and by supporting these farmers to grow in a sustainable way.
I think the best thing is also you bring the market, first of all, into the center of the city, because before, your idea is that you always go to some like morning market, especially right now, there's no such market in the city. You have to go far away, and they normally put on the ground. They're quite dirty. The idea you have like going to buy your vegetable is not a good experience. Either you go to the supermarket where everything is cold, there's nobody behind the counter, only when you pay. And this is completely like what you have mentioned, right? It looks trendy, but you also bring this agriculture product and agriculture life closer to the people. So it's part of the fashion, it's part of lifestyle.
Wait, it's a great idea, to be honest. It's a great idea, a great business idea. You're saying we're paying more for the organic food to support the farmers, also to support the efforts to make the soil, the environment better again in the future. But how can I be sure, how can I know that you're not using that as a concept to support your business instead of actually doing a real support to change the situation of the environment?
What else can you do?
For all these consumers, sometimes it's rather difficult to try to convince them to live a new lifestyle. And you're simply saying, yes, you're paying twice, 3 times, 5 times more than those non-organic food, but you know what? You're supporting a cause. You're helping the environment. So why don't you just pay more? I guess that is just not enough to convince most of the clients, right?
Think of it as insurance. You have insurance, right? Health insurance? Which you pay for. and probably rarely, if ever, used. Hopefully, you never have to use it, right? So when you pay more for food that's safe to eat, it's sort of like paying insurance.
Is that argument solid enough, lawyer?
I think you cannot demand the consumer to think about, I'm supporting the farmers, so that's why you buy. I think maybe some of them, but majority would think, okay, I'm buying, good food is closer to my home. To be honest, they're really attractive, they're really fresh, and they really look good. And the farmers, they all look very smiling and very nice. So I think that's, probably the major part to bring most of the consumers, right?
You know what?
Well, you mentioned freshness, too.
Yeah.
I just want to note that at a farmer's market, the produce is picked. Generally, it's in the morning before the market or the afternoon prior to the market.
They're not in the supermarket.
Yeah.
You cannot actually compare prices.
You feel bad if you say no to them. How much is this corn? And you okay, I'll buy it.
It shows you shop a lot, right? I think actually for most of them to do.
No, you have 20 farmers there. The price is different. So you still get to compare the price and decide what's the best deal for you.
How do you try to convince more consumers?
Well, that's a challenge.
Yeah, try to buy your idea.
How do you raise that awareness for people to, like you said, they're willing to pay for this kind of price?
Well, I think it's education. And so that's one of the things that we do at our farm. I mentioned that we started out as just a garden for educating children, but we bring people to the farm and educate them about what exactly it is, what it means to be organic, and what we have to do in order to take care of the soil. And we bring them there to plant seeds, to harvest, so they actually get a chance to see what it's all about. Now, those are people that are already interested, of course, but we also bring school-age children, so that children that don't know where their food comes from, literally don't know, they think it comes from the store.
Yeah.
Right? So that kind of education, I think, is critical.
I think a major issue is health, right? When you see your friends, people around you, your neighbor, your colleague, they got cancer, right? And more and more people got sick. And then I think people realize that how important food is, right? You need organic food, right? I think supporting the farmers is one thing, but really caring about their own health is another thing.
As someone said, you either pay a farmer now or pay a doctor later.
Right.
What do you choose?
And I think probably at the market...
That's a scary strategy.
That's quite a strong statement.
But then taste is another important issue.
Does it taste better?
Much better. The other day we had a discussion in our WeChat group, and one
taste.
Yeah, go ahead.
We have some mom come to me that my son never likes carrots, but he loves the carrots from the market.
It's a non-spicy habanero. Yeah.
No, this is good.
Yeah.
So let's take another break.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
And to find out more about our show, make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Good, right?
With the increase of the food safety in China, it's getting better.
So spending time at the farm is actually good for you, even if you don't eat any of it.
They don't really select what kind of vegetables.
You need to do your marketing. You need to work with consumers.
Do we have support from the government?
There's some support from the government, but is that enough?
How is it?
What's the eating, huh?
Yeah, this is pretty good. Welcome back to the studio. How is it?
What's the eating, huh?
Yeah, this is pretty good.
It's actually sweet.
Yeah, it is.
So if we come back to the very idea you talked about before in our second part, that's the
CSA.
Community
supported.
CSA, community supported agriculture.
Yes.
Right.
Do you think that represents the prospect of organic farming in the future? Is it this is where we're going?
It's one model. I'm not sure it's the model, but it's one model. We use it.
What's the benefit of it?
Well, the benefit is it really helps the farmer because the family pays in advance for a year's worth of vegetables or whatever the farmer produces. And so that way the farmer sort of gets a little bit of an investment, if you will. Of course, the risk is that they have to actually produce and supply the family with a basket or a box or whatever every week or sometimes twice a week of whatever it is that they produce. And if they have some kind of problem like weather problem, but it's also a shared risk. So that the family who's paying that money understands that sometimes these things happen. And so, for example, our customers are supposed to get at least 5 kilos of produce once a week.
That's put on a order
beforehand, right?
Beforehand.
Yeah.
Right. They pay in advance, and then they get 5 kilos a week.
So whatever you produce, they don't really select what kind of vegetables, right?
No, there's whatever we have, whatever's in season.
Okay.
So, but I think one of the cool things about that is it forces people to think about seasons. Oh, now's the time we get corn, right? Now's the time we get whatever. And that changes the way they cook, and I think it brings them a little bit closer to life.
Does it solve the trust issue, the CSA model?
I think in a way it solved the trust issue, and that's why it's probably the most popular one for people to buy, especially the vegetables, the agricultural products. But we hope in the future, right, with the increase of the food safety in China, it's getting better, right? You're not only trusting your friend's product, you can trust the product in the shelf, in the supermarket. I think it's a good model. I agree with you that, but it should not be the only model.
I was going to say there's also a growing body of evidence about humans' microbiome, which is basically we're a bunch of small critters all living together, bacteria, etc. And the growing body of evidence shows that when you spend time outside, and specifically it could be in a park or at a farm or wherever, you actually improve that microbiome and are more healthy. So spending time at the farm is actually good for you, even if you don't eat any of it.
We'll invite you.
They're soaked in that environment. This is from a doctor, so we better believe it. Now, if we talk about the future of organic farming, where do you think the biggest challenges are still lying?
I think there's still very small scale.
Why is it still a very small scale?
Well, like I mentioned before, a lot of people actually do the organic farming is because the trust issue, so they want to grow their own vegetables. Therefore, of course, they will not grow a very big one. I think the second issue is also technology issue. Right, and third issue is finance.
Do we have support from the government?
Well, there's some support from the government, but is that enough, right? Especially for individual farmers.
No, actually, if you encourage more young farmers, like show, you see at the farmers market, they don't need any money. They don't need much investment. Because they don't go back to their own village. The land is already there. And they can start very small. Doesn't require much investment. And they can use the CSA model, which means they can get the money in advance. They don't have to borrow. And it's a more sustainable and more, nice way of a circulation of money and goods. So I think I wouldn't worry too much about investment per se, but I think the government really needs to invest more in this field, to train more farmers, to help them to understand the value, to understand practice, how to grow in an organic way, not to just stop using any fertilizers, but also grow your soil. Everything, marketing. So I think the policy needs to improve.
If it is so good, are we seeing, say, in the future, an ideal scenario that in the future, all farming, the whole farming industry, the whole agriculture industry will be all 100% organic?
Well, I think we don't really have much of a choice, to be honest. If we don't, we'll see the end of the species as we know it. And we're poisoning our planet. We're poisoning the water, we're poisoning the air, we're poisoning ourselves, we're poisoning all the other animals that we have to share this planet with. And if we don't make that shift, then we're just going to swirl right down the toilet, I think.
Is it possible that we invent in future, say, organic or environmentally friendly fertilizers?
We have been doing that for thousands of years. It's called compost.
Talking about the future, we have a video from Professor Hu again. He's quite optimistic about it. So let's take a look.
Take a look.
就目前来说，有机农业的发展还停留在探索发展阶段。政府呢也在开始关注这样的事情。比方说今年的6月21号，习主席到山西去考察去。 就提出了像山西这样的地区应该发展有机旱作农业，这样的建议跟意见。 我们认为是政府的关注从这个意义上讲，已经提出了明确的一个指向。事实上，我们在中央以后文件里边也提出了要提倡发展有机农业这样的基本思想。我觉得政府的认识正在迅速的这个发展之中。因为中国这样一个国家在世界上人口在20%左右，也是世界第一农业大国。假如中国的农业能够依靠这样的方式有一个新的改观，它会给世界发展中国家的农业提供一个案例，使得世界的整个农业我们配合世界的整个农业向好的方向来发展。
So he seems to be indeed pretty optimistic.
Yeah.
He says China's organic farming is still at its early stage.
Yes.
Right.
It is, indeed.
It is.
Yeah. I think it's indeed in the early stage. I think it's good to talk about organic and to talk about organic farming as a kind of goal, but we do need to realize that there are actually many steps between the current stage and being organic, right? For example, in the West, many of the agriculture, they have the best agriculture standard, right? The GAP standard, although it's not pure organic, but still good practice. So I think it's a really a good slogan, good goal to go, but what is realistic, right? It's good to be optimistic, but in the meantime, we also need to be realistic.
Organic farming, all these, we have farmers, we have organizers, we have owners, we have consumers. But if we talk about the farmers, and what does it mean to them? Are they going to earn more? Is organic farming going to bring them a better life in the future?
Of course, yes.
In what way?
First, they don't use any chemicals. They don't harm themselves to start with.
Okay.
Yeah. The second is, the consumers are willing to pay a premium for the organic products, so the farmers can earn more. And also, it makes farming more fun because usually
more fun.
More fun, yes. Because organic farmers, you need to do your marketing. You need to work with consumers.
That's more work.
Yeah, but it's more interaction. You don't just work as a laborer in the fields all day long.
But they've been doing farming for all these years in the way, in the old way.
Yeah, that's why they don't feel respected, because they don't have an interaction with people. They don't have anyone come to say, it's great what you do. The food you produce is so delicious. And I love to come back to your farm, even help you. And these are the things to give back the dignity to these farmers, to make them feel more respected.
So at the same, it's almost like a new method of farming at the same time, even though it's actually an old way, right?
Yeah, and also social relations is different.
So financially and also in other ways.
Socially, yes.
And also socially, psychologically.
Yeah.
They feel appreciated.
So I think to a certain extent it's good for the farmers, but we cannot say it's good for all the farmers because it's really difficult to measure that right now.
We have different ideas, different understandings about the prospect, and I guess that is because we're now based on different grounds. We're talking about the mass production, we're talking about the mass market, we're talking about a new way of farming or new farming, organic farming. Different ideas. Maybe currently what is happening is now different models, different ways of farming methodology will coexist for a long time.
Yeah, definitely.
And we'll see what happens. I guess either by the government guidance or policies, or basically mostly it will be decided by the market, by the end consumers. And we'll see what happens. So next time when you join us again for the discussion, we'll see what are the new developments.
Yeah, I look forward to that.
All right.
But at the end of the day, we all want similar things. We just want healthy food.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And thank you for watching this episode of Crossover.
We'll see you next time.
Bye. Only yellow chrysanthemum or any colors that...
I think all the yellow flowers are
Really? Not sunflowers, right? Because sunflowers in the West are supposed to...
Throw this away! Not this one.
I mean, there's the 20th of May, so it's 5/20, and
which means
I think I love you forever or something like that. Yeah.